Welcome back guys, update 2.0 is finally out and I hope you've all been playing a couple of hours already. Of course this update was a big nerf for all our existing builds, which was expected after they reworked all the skill trees, but I'm already working on new powerful overpowered builds which will still one-shot everyone even on very hard. There are some extremely good guns with some insane stats and you can still be very OP even with your netrunner builds if you do it correctly, but before I show you all those tips on which weapons are extremely good and what to focus on, let's check out all the new mechanics so you don't miss out on some essential things how to upgrade your gear, your weapons and other stuff. After you load your old existing save file from patch 163, you're immediately asked to visit a Ripper Dog and respec your character. But there's one very important thing you should do before. You should first create a new manual save with patch 2.0, because the game only lets you respec your main attributes once per save file or once per playthrough. Once you've done that and you save after it, you will not be able to respec your character again. So it is really important to make one manual save before you respec your character for patch 2.0. So in case you mess up, you can always go back to that save file and change the attributes if your build actually was total rubbish and you want to try out something different. When you reset your attributes, it is only important that you reach a certain ceiling inside your skill tree which allows you to get all the perks you want to get for your build. These ceilings are reached when you spend 4 points for the first row, 9 points, 15 points or even 20 points for the last row. Your cyberware is no longer bound to your main attributes, you can freely use any cyberware you have, so it is almost entirely useless to go for any other level than 4, 9, 15 or 20. The perks that scale with your attribute levels are too weak and too few to actually matter. When you open your inventory for the first time and you have a lot of iconics equipped, you will see that you have lost a lot of mod slots, and even the mod slots that were previously filled have to be filled again. So you should first go into your weapons and just re-equip all your mod slots. You have to be a bit careful when equipping your mods because the values have all changed and some even have negative modifiers. And also don't forget to re-equip a health booster. Your clothing items all have lost their mod slots because armor is now managed by your cyberware. So clothing is just now purely cosmetic and there are only very few items that give you a certain boost, if at all. Your weapons don't have DPS anymore, they are classified in tiers. There are 6 tiers in the game: tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and tier 5+. The item tiers are more or less the same as rarities and they are matching exactly the same colors, except for tier 5+, which has the same color as tier 5. The only difference is that the stats no longer upgrade every level, they only upgrade when you upgrade a tier. If you had a level 50 character, most of your items should be tier 5, and you can just go and upgrade them to tier 5+, which you should do immediately. Your crafting menu is now below your main menu. You just have to open it and then go to the upgrade tab where you find all your existing items. Make sure you max out all the weapons you want to use to tier 5+. Speaking about weapons, I also have to mention that a lot of weapon types have been heavily nerfed. Predominantly all the assault rifles, SMGs have been nerfed so heavily that they are almost unplayable, especially on higher difficulties. Netrunning also costs now the double amount of RAM and doesn't nearly do as much damage anymore, and when I equipped a Berserk cyberware I actually was completely stunned because I immediately pulled out my sword. You can no longer use Berserk for your ranged weapons or any other build, you are actually forced to play it with melee weapons. Just why do they actually kill the diversity for this? The only playstyle that feels like it didn't get heavily nerfed is melee. But for anyone running with any ranged weapons or guns, the game feels so much harder. But I want to give you some quick tips in this video to improve your build, because there are some weapons which are really good. For these weapons you mostly have to use the cool tree, especially the focus tree and the deadeye tree with those 2 finishers, which are just extremely good. The Overwatch with its built-in silencer, which also benefits from stealth damage, is in my opinion one of the best weapons in patch 2.0. If you combine this with netrunning, you can get a really good netrunning sniper build. Don't forget that you can also overclock your netrunning OS. So everything you have to do to get an OP netrunner is just equip a sniper rifle for backup, then overclock your cyber deck and spam suicide as often as you can. But there's a weapon that is even better, which is the Pride, which you get when you complete the rogue ending. The Pride gives you over 420% headshot damage, 100% critical damage, over 13% crit chance, and it makes your first hit always be a critical hit. This simply makes it the best and most powerful gun in update 2.0. You can easily get 2000 or even 3000 damage for every shot you fire at your enemies. That allows you to one-shot every enemy even on very hard, and if you combine that with Suicide Quick Hack, you are literally unkillable. And you can even equip a silencer for getting another 150% stealth damage. If you focus on these weapons together with Suicide Quick Hacks, you will just become as powerful as before. It will be a day and night difference to your first experience with Update 2.0. The next big part, of course, is your cyberware. Cyberware is now completely connected to a capacity system. In general, all the existing cyberware have been completely reworked. Some cyberware you might be familiar with is suddenly in another category with completely different perks, such as the bioconductor, which now is a head cyberware, which gives you crit chance for your quick hacks, which is completely different to what it did before. So even if you remember a picture of a certain cyberware, that completely doesn't mean that it is nearly as good as before or even doing the same as before. So read all your text carefully because everything is totally different. Something that hasn't much changed, of course, is Second Heart. Second Heart is still reviving you on death, so I would definitely recommend you to equip it, and of course the skeleton as well. Similar to your weapons, you can also upgrade your cyberware from tier 1 to tier 5, which means from uncommon to legendary, and even to tier 5 plus, which is basically legendary plus. But before you do that, you should get the driver update in the tech skill tree and also the shipware connoisseur. That allows you to select between different perks when upgrading your item. This system is actually random, so in Update 2.0 you can actually buy multiple times the same cyberware and then re-roll different perks on it to improve your build. For example, if you have a Netrunner build, you want to get a lot of quick hack damage additionally to all your cyberware. If you have a melee build, you want to have melee damage on all your cyberware. This is basically an additional way to min-max your build and get the most out of your character. The previous skill progression also still exists and it looks to be really powerful. We have Headhunter, Netrunner, Shinobi, Solo and Engineer. And whenever you do something that actually fits into one of these categories, you will upgrade them. You will not only get additional perk points like you got before by doing that, but you will also unlock some of the most powerful buffs you can get for your character, such as 40% additional overclock duration or even 40% additional crit chance during Thundervista. So these perks, and especially the later ones, are extremely powerful and you should really focus on maxing these things out. A lot of cyberware capacity is also locked inside of this engineering skill progression. The perk points and skill charts in general are actually a big problem, because normally you collect them from NCPD or story locations. But if you have a high level character, you have done them already. So we can't get any potential shards that were part of any police location. And that means we are probably missing out on a lot of capacity shards which we simply can't get on our level 50 character. That also explains why our cyberware capacity is so low compared to what we have seen in previous videos from CDPR. Their characters probably started in patch 2.0 and they got all the shards they needed. If you can't get to the same capacity level, that simply means it's a very poor coded transition, which makes me really angry because it forces us to restart a new character. Of course, to max out your capacity, you also have to max out your tech tree. There are a lot of perks that give you new slots for your cyberware and will greatly amplify all the perks and damage you deal with your cyberware. Especially the Edge Runners perk is really interesting, however it also comes with some heavy debuffs, so be careful when you use it. Update 2.0 also allows you to use weapons on your cars, and there are some cars in the game that already have come with built-in weapons, and you already knew them because they already had them right at the start. But the difference now is you can actually use them in combat and shoot other vehicles, predominantly of course the police, and this is just extremely fun and I totally like to use it. You can also use quick hacks from inside your car, which is really cool. And most surprisingly, I also witnessed some policemen that actually came on a motorcycle. So you are no longer the only one riding a motorcycle in Night City, which is really nice. And we also got a new arcade game called Trauma Team, which is a 2D shooter. You can also access this game when you go to the El Coyote bar. There should be an arcade machine in the ground floor where you can access this game. I haven't played this game much, so I don't know if there are some secret rewards, so if you get something, then definitely let me know. I hope you really liked this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave me a like, and see you next time.